रसिया की जय। श्रीमद् सतगुरु सरकार की जय। लाडली लाल की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। प्रथमं सद्गुरुं वन्दे श्रीकृष्णं तदनन्तरं गुरुः पापात्मना त्राता श्रीकृष्णस्त्वमलात्मना अहो भगीयं स्तनकालकूटं जिघांसया ययदप्यसाध्वी लेभे गतिं त्र्युचितां ततोऽन्यं कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ब्रह्मदेवमात्म बुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Dear devotees, let us first, as a regular spiritual practice, chant for a few minutes, and thereafter we will talk about the entity known as the Guru and the relationship between God and Guru. राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
ओ राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
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 राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे 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 राधे गोविंदा,
गोविंदा गोविंदा गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
गोविंदा गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
गोविंदा गोविंदा गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
गोविंदा गोविंदा गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा, राधे गोविंदा,
गोविंदा गोविंदा गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
गोविंदा गोविंदा गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
सतचित आनंदा, 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 राधे राधे गोविंदा,
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 राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे 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 राधे गोविंदा,
राधे गोविंदा,
Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Govinda,
Govinda, Govinda, Govinda, Radhe 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 Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda.
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्रीमद् सतगुरु सरकार की जय। The subject for today is the relationship between God and Guru. We all know that it is impossible to attain any knowledge without the help of a teacher. We cannot even learn the alphabet by ourselves. Someone has to take the child by the hand and form the letters A, B, C, D, etc. So you can imagine that if we need the help of a teacher to even acquire something as simple as the alphabet, the knowledge of the alphabet, then how can we learn about God on our own? The Supreme Personality known as God. This is why a guru is necessary in the process of God realization or self-realization. Innumerable people in the past have become saints by surrendering to God, countless people. How? By first surrendering to a saint, a genuine saint. So after detaching our mind from the world, we must surrender it to a saint or to a guru, a spiritual master, before we can surrender it to God. The guru or the spiritual master has been recognized by the scriptures as an irreplaceable, indispensable link between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. The scriptures declare that it is absolutely impossible for us to surrender to God without surrendering first to a guru, a genuine saint. The Vedas tell us that a guru must be Shrotriyam Brahmanisht. In other words, he must possess a thorough knowledge of all the scriptures so that he may be able to answer our questions, solve our doubts, and address any problems that we are likely to encounter in the process of surrendering ourselves to God. And more importantly, he must possess a practical experience of God. He must have an intense burning desire for God, supreme love for God. All the scriptures, from the Vedas to the Ramayana, have emphasized the importance and the need of a guru, a saint in our life. And they define the guru as Gumrauti iti guruhu, one who eliminates darkness in this material world. Granati jnanam iti guruhu, he who imparts true knowledge, knowledge of God, spiritual knowledge. Girati ajnanam iti guruhu, and who destroys our ignorance. Such a one is called the Guru. Now you may say, in fact, all the scriptures, the Bhagavad states that it is only through the guidance of a Guru that one can attain spiritual knowledge, Tattva Gyan. The Gita also says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. 434. The Ramayana too states, Guru binu hoi ki jnana, jnana ki hoi virag binu. Guru binu bhavanidhi tarai na koi, jo viranji shankar sam hoi. The Ramayana tells us that no one can know God without a Guru's guidance, let alone ordinary people like us. Even Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar cannot know him through self-effort. Even they must approach a saint, a spiritual master. Now you may say that the scriptures give the Guru, the saint, so much importance that at times it may seem that he is superior to God, or if not, at least as superior to God as God himself. Well, the scriptures put forth three views concerning the relationship between God and a saint. The first view is that God is greater than the saint. The second view is that the saint is greater than God. And the third view is that both are equal. So these differing views confuse us and make it impossible, make us incapable of arriving at any conclusion regarding God and saints. Therefore, let us we need to find out the logic behind these opposing views put forth by the scriptures. First of all, let me tell you that all the three statements are correct. You see, at one place, the scriptures tell us that God is greater than the saint. Natat samascha bhyadikascha drishyate. Shvetashvatra Upanishad, 6th chapter, 8th verse. And the Gita also agrees. It is written, Natvat samostyabhyadikaha kutonyo lokatrayepya pratima prabhav. 11:43. In other words, God is greater than the saint. No one is, the Gita is saying, no one is greater than or equal to God. And this is not difficult to understand. God is supreme and we are all his servants, we are all his children. Amritasya vai putraha. So how can a saint be greater than God? A saint is one who attains God, who has attained God. In other words, an individual soul becomes a saint because of God. And as such, how can he be greater than God? Therefore, God is greater than the saint. Right. And yet, the scriptures also tell us that a God-realized soul comes into the possession of all the powers possessed by God. Tulsidas Ji tells us in the Ramayana, More man prabhu as vishwasa, Ram te adhik Ram kar dasa. In other words, Das, the saint, the pure devotee, the saint is greater than God. God himself recognizes this to be true. He tells us, Vedavyas says, Ye me bhakta hi he parth, na me bhakta stute matah. Mad bhaktasya ye bhaktaste, me bhakta tamah matah. They who are devoted to my devotee, they who serve my devotee, who are devoted to my devotee, are dearer, are closer to me than those who are directly devoted to me, says God. In fact, in the Vishnu Puran, it is written that God easily, he readily forgives those who commit an offense against him. But he, at the same time, he declares that they who offend, who commit an offense against his devotees, can never be forgiven by him. Vishnu sthane kritam papam guru sthane pramuchyate. Guru sthane kritam papam Vishnu sthane pramuchyate. Guru sthane kritam papam vajralepo bhavishyati. Rather. In other words, if one commits an offense against God, he can be forgiven by the Guru, the saint. But if one commits an offense against the saint, even God cannot forgive him. It is as if it becomes engraved in stone, it becomes carved in stone. Only that saint, that specific saint against whom you committed the offense, can forgive you. And the Ramayana has said the exact same thing. Sunu Suresh Raghunath Subhau Nij aparadh risahi na kau Jo aparadh bhagat kar karai Ram rosh pavak so jarai. One who commits an offense against his pure devotee must suffer his wrath, the wrath of God. So the second view is that the saint is greater than God. However, Narad Ji, the great sage Narad Ji, disagrees with both these views, and he tells us in the Narad Bhakti Sutra, Tasmin stajjane bheda bhavat. In other words, there's no difference between God and a genuine saint. Both are equal. And again, the Vedas are in agreement. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathita hi arthaah prakashyante mahatmanah. Shvetashvatra Upanishad 623. In other words, one must worship one's spiritual master, the genuine saint, the genuine guru, in exactly the same manner in which he worships God. It is only the individual who worships both equally, the scriptures say, who can attain divine knowledge and supreme happiness. The Vedas tell us that one who gains the knowledge of God becomes like God. Brahmavit brahmaiva bhavati. Lord Krishna himself tells Uddhav in the Bhagavad, Acharyam mam vijaniyan navamanyeta karhichit namartya buddhya suyet sarvadeva mayo guru. 11:17-27. Meaning, know the Guru to be myself. Never disrespect him or find fault with him. Do not utilize your material mind to comprehend, to understand his divine actions. For all forms of God dwell within the Guru. And so on. So these differing views confuse us. What conclusion can we draw from these differing views put forth by the scriptures? There are not only contradictions in different scriptures, but we find that even one and the same scripture puts forth different views. Let us take the Ramayana, for instance. At one place in the Ramayana it is written, Jeeva ke Ish Saman. In other words, God is greater than the saint. The Jeev, in other words, the individual soul, how can he be equal to God? How can a saint be equal to God? Thus, God is greater than the saint. And yet, at another place in the Ramayana, in the same Ramayana, we read, Ramate adhik Ram karadasa, as I quoted, that the saint is greater than God. And the same Ramayana also tells us, Janat tumahi hoi jai. In other words, one who attains God becomes God. So these differing views make it impossible for us to derive at any definite conclusion regarding God and Guru, God and saints. So again, the question, are all these three statements correct, or are all of them wrong, or is only one of them correct? As I said before, all the three statements are correct. So first, let's go to the statement that God is greater than the saint. Again, this is easy to understand. God is the Supreme Lord, and we are all His servants. A saint is one, thus how can a saint be greater than God? A saint is one who has attained God. In other words, a saint becomes a saint because of God. As such, how can he be greater than God? You see, the point to note is that it is only from the point of view of enjoying supreme bliss, divine bliss, that in a God-realized soul is considered to be equal to God. Otherwise, there's a vast difference between the two. Bhog matra samya lingacha. Brahma Sutra. Once an individual soul becomes God-realized, he attains God, he enjoys, God is so merciful, that individual soul relishes the same supreme divine bliss as God himself. And therefore, he is regarded to be equal to God. So although the saint comes into the possession of all the powers possessed by God himself, as the scriptures tell us, aprihit papma vijro vrimrityur vishoko vijikhatso pipasah satyakamah satyasankalpah, Chandogya Upanishad 8.1.5. Yet, there is one power possessed by God which is not given to the saint. And what is that power? Jagat Vyapar Varjam, Brahma Sutra. A saint does not possess the power of creation. This task is never given to a saint, never allotted to a saint. It is reserved for God alone. God, the Supreme Lord, he can create innumerable cosmic eggs, innumerable universes within this creation by merely raising his eyebrows, state the Vedas, or by a mere smile. However, a saint does not have that power. He is not given the power to create. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayante abhisamvishanti. Taittiriya Upanishad 3.1 says that this universe can only be created by God and never by a saint. So, keeping this in mind, from this point of view, we are forced to admit that God is greater than the saint. Now let us move on to the second theory, that the saint is greater than God. You see, the ultimate aim of every living being in the universe is to attain God, is to realize Him, to know Him. As the scriptures tell us, Tamev viditvati mrityumeti nanyah pantha vidyate yanai. Shvetashvatra Upanishad 3.8 says that it is only by knowing Him that an individual soul can attain freedom from the bondage of Maya. There is no other way possible to be freed from the cycle of birth and death. And yet, the scriptures also tell us that no one can know Him. Whether he's a mortal, a demon, or a demigod, no one can know Him. The Bhagavad states that the divine secrets of God cannot be known to anyone. Lord Krishna Himself tells us in the Gita, He says, O Arjuna, veiled by my divine power, by my creative power, Yog Maya, I can be revealed to no one. The Ramayana also says, Ram Swarup Tumhar Vachan Agochar Buddhi Par Avigat Akath Apar Neti Neti Nit Nigam Vad. Lord Ram is beyond the range of speech, mind, and intellect. He is infinite, unlimited, and unknown. No one can know Him. God is divine, and our senses, mind, and intellect are material. Therefore, the scriptures tell us our efforts to know God through our material means, our material media, that is our senses, mind, and intellect, can be compared to our efforts to measure the depth of the ocean with a 1-foot scale. If we want to measure the depth of the ocean, it is common sense that we must at least have a scale as deep as the ocean. So the point is, when it is impossible to measure even the limited, the depth of the ocean is limited. It is not infinite. It is not unlimited. There is a base. So when it is impossible to measure even the limited with the limited, then how can we measure the unlimited with the limited? So no one can know him. The Bhagavad also says, Naham na yuyam yadritam gatim vidur navam devah kimuta pare surah tanmayaya mohit buddhyastvedam vinirmitam chatmasamam prachakshmahe. Second canto, 6th chapter, 36th verse. Meaning that not even heavenly gods, celestial gods of knowledge, such as Brihaspati and Saraswati, and not even the highest authorities on knowledge, that is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, can know him through their individual efforts. Then how can he be known? How can he be attained? He can be attained, God himself tells us, only through his grace, only through his kripa. So how can God be known? He can be known and attained only through the attainment of his grace, kripa. As the Ramayana says, Tulsidas Ji has beautifully expressed the importance of God's grace. Soi janai jehi dehu janai जानत तुमहि होई जाई तुम्हारी ही कृपा तुम्हि रघुनंदन जानहि भगत भगत उर चंदन राम कृपा बिनु सुनु खगराई जानी न जाई राम प्रभुताई अति हरि कृपा जाहि पर होई पाऊँ देहि एहि मार्ग सोई. Meaning, it is only the most fortunate soul who's blessed with God's grace, who can see him, know him, attain him, and become eternally satisfied. It is only the recipient of God's utmost grace, says the Ramayana, who treads the path of spirituality. So God can be known only through his grace. But is everyone eligible to receive his grace? No. Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Ananyashchintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. 9:22. He says that he bestows his grace only upon those whose mind never deviates from him for even a fraction of a moment. Of course, he also tells us, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajamyaham. In the Gita, Lord Krishna also says that I worship, I serve, in fact, my devotee in the same manner and in the same proportion as he worships me. So He does bestow His grace in the same proportion as our devotion, as our surrender to Him. However, to attain His unlimited grace, attaining which we no longer need to attain anything else, His divine grace, His infinite grace, for that, the mind must be constantly attached to Him. For example, if a person remains truthful 23 hours a day but becomes a liar for the remaining 1 hour, he cannot truly be called truthful. Or if someone is devoted to God 90% of the time, he still cannot be considered a pure devotee of God because of the remaining 10%. You see, if an individual is not devoted to God 100% of the time, if he's not thinking of Him each and every moment of the day, God will not bestow His unlimited grace. Instead, He will assume the role of a judge. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyah. As He tells us in the Gita 9:29, that I treat everyone equally, no one is hateful nor dear to me. And as long as He remains a judge, a neutral judge, He will not bestow His divine grace. It is only when we are absorbed in Him at all times that we become qualified, that we become eligible to receive His unlimited divine grace. And for that, we need the help of a saint. We need the guidance of a guru. So what is the present state of our mind? The scriptures tell us that instead of being concentrated on God, it is mainly concentrated on the world. We are looking away from God. The Vedas tell us that two birds that are ever associated with each other are seated on the same tree in this position. Dva suparna sauja sakhaya samanam vriksham parikhasva jate tayoranyah pippalam swadvatya nashnan nanyo abhijakashiti. Mundakopanishad 1:1. So two birds that are ever connected, associated with each other, are seated on the same tree in this position. One is the individual soul and the other is the Supreme Soul, God. Both are seated in the hearts of all living beings. The individual soul, what does he do? The bird, facing away from the Supreme Soul, the other, the second bird. The individual soul eats the fruits, bitter or sweet, the bitter, sweet fruits of his actions. Whereas the Supreme Soul merely looks on. He merely witnesses the actions of the individual soul and keeps a record of them. So in this way, the scriptures tell us that we are turned away from God. And all we have to do is to turn towards Him and our problem will be solved. The purpose of life will be solved. They make it sound very simple. However, this is nearly impossible for us worldly souls to do on our own. And this is where the saint comes in. What does he do? He transforms our attachment to the world to detachment from the world. In fact, he channels all our worldly attachments towards God and Guru, towards himself, in order to purify us. And the pains, you see, if we become attached to a divine personality, to a pure personality, our heart also becomes pure. So he channels all our attachments towards God, towards Hari, as well as himself, Guru, Hari and Guru. And the pains taken by a saint in performing this most difficult task is beyond our comprehension, is beyond human comprehension. We can never repay him for his grace, for everything that he has done for us, that he does for us. We remain indebted. Once, to tell you a story, an argumentative sort of man went to Gaurang Mahaprabhu. Gaurang Mahaprabhu, as you know, who was the descension of God himself, the very embodiment of bhakti, devotion. And he confessed, admitted having thought ill of Mahaprabhuji. He was honest, so he told Mahaprabhuji that his mind was full of doubts as to Mahaprabhuji being a genuine saint. Many people, many of us, are like this man. Many people in the world, as soon as they see a saint, their mind goes to work. Well, he looks like a saint. There's definitely an aura about him. He must be a saint. And yet, look at him. He's sitting on such a nice, comfortable chair. He's wearing such nice, silky clothes. He can't be a saint. And yet, there's something special about him. So this man was the same. His mind was full of doubts. So Mahaprabhuji told him that it is extremely difficult for a doubting mind, for a doubting individual to attain God, to realize God. The man was curious. He said, how long does it take? How long will it take for someone like me? I'm so fallen. My mind is full of doubts. It is so impure. He asked Mahaprabhuji. Mahaprabhuji pointed to a tree in the courtyard where they were sitting, and he told the man that he would realize God in as many lifetimes as there were leaves on that tree. Now, Mahaprabhuji had said this in a general sort of way, but the man took Mahaprabhuji very seriously. He was thrilled. He was extremely thrilled to know that his situation was not completely hopeless, that he would also, sooner or later, realize God. When Mahaprabhuji saw the man's faith, he at once changed his statement and said that no. In fact, that he would realize God in only a few lifetimes. Again, the man took Mahaprabhuji's word for it and did not even think to question him about the change in the statement, thinking that he would realize God in only a few lifetimes. The man became ecstatic. He had genuine faith. When Mahaprabhuji noticed that the man had tremendous faith in his words, he again changed his statement and said, no, I think I made a mistake. You will realize God in only one lifetime. What am I saying? Again, when the man heard that he would realize God in only one lifetime, he was overwhelmed. He was overjoyed. He became so overwhelmed with happiness that he started dancing in ecstasy like a madman. And soon he lost consciousness and fell down. Mahaprabhuji saw that the man had complete faith in him. Therefore, he blessed him with grace instantly, that very same moment. That is how God, that is the nature, the merciful nature of God and saints. Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Chipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim negacchati. 931. The moment an individual soul makes a complete self-surrender unto me, he attains his eternal goal of supreme happiness. The moment he surrenders to God, Lord Krishna says that he showers innumerable gifts upon the individual. He blesses him with everything. What kind of gifts, you may ask? Yaddurlabham yadaprapyam manaso yannagocharam tadapyaprarthito dhyato dadatu madhusudanaha. The Garud Puran says, that which is difficult to obtain, that which is impossible to attain, and that which cannot be even thought of by the mind is given by Lord Krishna without asking to his dear devotees, to his surrendered souls. Once an individual attains God, he attains unlimited knowledge. He's freed of all doubts, and he is immediately released from the effects of all his actions, virtuous or sinful. In other words, he becomes eternally blissful. So getting back to the story, so the man who had come to argue with Mahaprabhuji left as a God-realized soul that very same day because he had faith. Adau Shraddha Tatah Sadhu Sangoth Bhajana Kriya. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that we must approach a saint with reverence and faith, with the deepest respect. And if we approach a saint with faith and reverence, he can and he will take us to God. He will clean the vessel of our heart through his divine teachings, through sadhana, devotional practice. For our heart to become acceptable to God. You see, it is the divine law of God. Nirmal man jan so mohi pava, mohi kapat chhal chhidra na bhava. God only accepts those who are pure at heart. So it is a saint, the Guru, who performs the job, the dirty job of cleaning layers upon layers of accumulated dirt from our hearts in the course of our innumerable past lives, the offenses, the sins that we have committed. So if it were not for him, we would never be able to realize him. This is why it is said that the saint is greater than God. Guru Govind do khade, kaake lagu paay, balihari Gurudev ki, jo Govind diyo milay. The saint is greater than God. And the third view, expressed by the scriptures, as I mentioned earlier, is that both God and the saint are equal. Neither one is superior to the other. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Gita 10:10. Because the saint attains all the powers possessed by God himself, and as such, both are equal. Suppose you have $100 note and someone else has 10 $10 notes. Who has more money? You would say that both have the same amount. Similarly, the scriptures go as far as to say, Bhakti Bhakta Bhagavant Guru Chatur Nam Vapuek. Devotion, devotee, God, and Guru are four names of the same one entity. In fact, to say that God is greater than the saint, or that the saint is greater than God, or that both are equal, implies that we are talking about two different entities. When the fact is, as it has been proven, that God and saints are both one and the same. A genuine saint, that is, a true saint, are both one and the same personality. God himself descends on earth. He incarnates himself on earth in the form of a human, in the form of a saint, in order to take us worldly souls across the ocean of Maya and to his divine abode, to partake in his pastimes and relish the same sweetest nectar of Divya Prem, Divya Anand, divine bliss. I will pause here with these words. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki Jai. Since we were glorifying the Guru, let us chant a bhajan to this effect. Mere Guru var pyare, mere giridhar pyare. Bhajan number 44, and it's page number 141 in the books.
(141), page 141.
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
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 प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ गिरिधर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
जोई गुरुवर प्यारे, सोई गिरिधर प्यारे,
जोई गुरुवर प्यारे, सोई गिरधर प्यारे,
जोई गुरुवर प्यारे, सोई गिरिधर प्यारे,
जोई गुरुवर प्यारे, सोई गिरधर प्यारे,
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ गिरिधर प्यारे,
गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ मेरे
जय हो।
गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
भज गुरुवर प्यारे, भज गिरिधर प्यारे,
भजो गुरुवर प्यारे, भजो गिरिधर प्यारे,
जहाँ गुरुवर प्यारे, तहाँ गिरिधर प्यारे,
जहाँ गुरुवर प्यारे, तहाँ गुरुवर प्यारे,
जहाँ गुरुवर प्यारे, तहाँ गिरिधर प्यारे,
जहाँ गुरुवर प्यारे, तहाँ गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ गिरिधर प्यारे,
गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ गिरिधर प्यारे,
गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
उर गुरुधर प्यारे, उर गिरिधर प्यारे,
उर गुरुधर प्यारे, उर गिरिधर प्यारे,
जय हो गुरुवर प्यारे, जय हो गिरिधर प्यारे,
जय हो गुरुवर प्यारे, जय हो गिरिधर प्यारे,
जय हो गिरुवर प्यारे, जय हो गिरिधर प्यारे,
जय हो गुरुवर प्यारे, जय हो गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ गिरिधर प्यारे,
गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे,
गुरु हरि भज गुरु प्यारे।
गुरु भज हरि प्यारे, हरि भज गुरु प्यारे।
गुरु भज हरि प्यारे, हरि भज गुरु प्यारे।
गुरु भज हरि प्यारे, हरि भज गुरु प्यारे।
गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे।
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
गुरु कहा हरि प्यारे, हरि कहा गुरु प्यारे।
गुरु कह हरि प्यारे, हरि कह गुरु प्यारे।
गुरु कहा हरि प्यारे, हरि कहा गुरु प्यारे।
गुरु कह हरि प्यारे, हरि कह गुरु प्यारे।
गिरिधर प्यारे,
गिरिधर प्यारे,
ओ गिरिधर प्यारे।
गिरिधर प्यारे।
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे,
गुरुवर प्यारे,
ओ गुरुवर प्यारे।
गुरुवर प्यारे।
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
कहा कृपालु प्यारे, दो कृपालु प्यारे।
कह कृपालु प्यारे, दो कृपालु प्यारे।
कहा कृपालु प्यारे, दो कृपालु प्यारे।
कह कृपालु प्यारे, दो कृपालु प्यारे।
कृपालु प्यारे,
कृपालु प्यारे,
ओ कृपालु प्यारे।
कृपालु प्यारे।
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
ओ मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
मेरे गुरुवर प्यारे, मेरे गिरिधर प्यारे।
बोले श्रीमद सतगुरु सरकार की
जय।
जय। Now let us all stand for Aarti.